It's time to talk about what we thought would be the very worst comic book of the week, and I think Doc and I were spot on this week. Jason Aaron, Javier Garron, Avengers 64, Part 4 of Avengers Assembled, the big climax of Jason Aaron's time on Avengers. I don't think anyone asked for this, and now that we're getting it, it's worse than we probably thought it could be. Here to talk to me about that is Doc. How you doing, buddy?
I am happy that I'm not reading this comic book. And I'm really happy Jason Aaron's Avengers is almost over, because I'd like to be able to read an Avengers book, maybe eventually, but I definitely won't read this one.
It definitely feels like Jason Aaron leaving is the silver lining of all of this, right? This is the end of the run. It's like, I don't know why this comic book exists. Before we get into the details, Doc, nothing of consequence happens in any of these 24, 30 pages that I paid for this week and read and wasted my time. The beginning state of the story is essentially the end state, other than the cliffhanger that's shown, where you see what Doom is actually doing.
It's like they spent half of this book just to beat up two of Doom's multiversal evil masters, or masters of evil, or whatever it is. They had to beat up the Killmonger in a destroyer armor, and then Tony had to go deal with his daddy issues.
That's what this comic book is pretty much all about, Doc. Tony actually narrates this thing, and I don't think Jason Aaron knows who Tony Stark is. At one point, Tony says, "I've never fought in a war." And I'm going, I don't know. I've read a lot of comic books where Tony Stark not only was fighting in wars, but was leading them throughout the entire galaxy.
Yeah, he's been in a good number of goddamn wars over the years, including ones against the X-Men, ones against alien races. He's fought in a lot. So this is just Jason Aaron being stupid. Howard also never fought as a soldier in a war. And then also I've thought that Howard wasn't actually Tony's dad.
This Howard Stark obviously is not Tony's dad either. He's just another Howard Stark from another place in the multiverse. You would think that Tony Stark, with his interactions with the multiverse and all the things that he would said, would pretty much be over the fact that this isn't his dad, and he probably wouldn't care about the guy very much whatsoever. He does think it might be Mephisto variant or something like that, but then he just decides that he's got to deal with his daddy issues right then and there, because he's never dealt with daddy issues ever in a comic book, Doc.
I mean, shit, I'm pretty sure that's all that Matt Fraction and Brian Bendis's Iron Man was Tony daddy issues. The idea that he somehow needs to do that again here with somebody that's not actually even his dad, and that he knows is not actually his dad, seems like a giant waste of time. He should have just beat the shit out of him and walked out of the goddamn cave. That's it.
Well, it is a giant waste of time because it's over half the comic book, man. That's the comic, and it means nothing, because at the end, it's like, whatever. You're just moving on.
All he does, it was like a long thing. I think I have a vague recollection of way back in the beginning of this Jason Aaron arc, a bloody handprint that was like human handprint that was dated from like millions and millions of years ago. And there was a mystery around that. And it seems like the entire story was just to get to Tony smashes his hands so that they're all bloody, and he makes a bloody handprint on a cave wall. That's it.
So he can't make technology anymore. He decides to cripple Howard Stark from another multiverse and destroy his hands.
So he's just going to turn into Howard Stark multiverse Doctor Strange, because that's the only thing left to do with it, because, well, his hands are crippled now.
I think this was supposed to be clever or interesting. It felt so, it's just filler, Doc. I got to call it what it is. Why did this even happen? It was such, whatever.
This comic existed to take all of the Masters of Evil off the table that started this, because nobody gives a shit about King Killmonger and his destroyer armor. Nobody liked Kid Thanos. Nobody cared about the Black Skull, the Venom Red Skull thing. And then nobody cared about the Howard Stark character. So it was, the entire thing is, all the villains that were introduced right at the beginning of this whole thing, this comic existed to take like 2/3 of them off the table. And then for us to find out that the chick that looked like Destiny, that was the Dark Phoenix holding Wolverine on a leash, was actually Mystique, looking like Destiny as the Dark Phoenix with Wolverine on a leash. This is what I don't care.
Was your mind blown when you got that big reveal? Because mine wasn't.
I'm like, oh, she's a shapeshifter. Wow. Oh, Oh, Mystique decided to look like her wife. Oh.
And then there's like this part where this weird version of Doctor Strange is actually like fighting throughout the ages, and it's showing all the different versions of Doctor Strange. Is like every time you make one of these characters and one of these stupid variants that happen throughout the ages, does Jason Aaron, CB Cebulski, and the rest of the brain trust at Marvel Comics not realizing you're actually devaluing the hero? You're making them less interesting and less important because there's only been 1,000 other Doctor Stranges. Stephen Strange is just one of many now. And they just keep doing this over and over. And that's what the comic book is. It's just Dark Knight's death metal, but less fun.
Yeah, and it's also Infinity Warps and every other one of their let's just start taking, doing a bunch of mashup characters. Mashup characters, variants, all of them devalue your IP. I don't know how you people have not figured this out yet. You know when Spider-Man was his most popular? When there was only fucking Peter. Every other fake spider that you create makes Peter less valuable and Spider-Man's IP less valuable. The same with the Hulk, the same with Iron Man, the same with Wolverine, the same with Batman, the same with Robin, the same with Superman. And then their solution is, well, we've devalued this character. Let's just do it again. Maybe we'll make one of our mashup combo man characters will suddenly become popular, and then it'll offset all the damage we did to the original one. It won't.
When Tony is going through all this, I guess maybe he thinks he's dying or something, because he starts thinking about all the things he's going to miss. Maybe he thinks he's going to die in the war. He's like, I'm going to miss Peter Parker's jokes, and I'm going to miss the thing, the look on his face. And then all of a sudden he's like, and I'm going to miss Riri Williams. And I'm going, what the fuck would you miss Riri Williams? And then it's like, I miss racing Robbie Reyes. It's like, oh, now we're going to verbally flate all the stupid characters no one likes?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. Those characters can't get over on their own, so they will continue to force validate those characters, even when they're not even appearing in a, this is like fucking Poochie level. Every single one of them is Poochie from The Simpsons. And all of them need to die on the way back to their home planet.
Yeah, it's so stupid. It's all just leading up to this big reveal at the end, because the multiversal masters of evil are going to get their butts kicked, and they turn to Doom. They're like, we need help or whatever. What are you going to do? And it turns out Doom's not there. He was just using them all as pawns, because the multiversal masters of evil and all these stupid mashup characters aren't really powerful. He's got his own army somewhere else.
He turned Ego the Living Planet into Doom the Living Planet that is populated by, I guess, all of the Dooms from all of the multiverse. Everywhere that there's just thousands and millions of Dooms on an Ego that looks like Doom wearing the Doom mask. That's the big reveal. So you get Planet Doom filled with Dooms to go and kill everybody. Holy shit, you just made this even more stupid. Honestly, the scene with the fake Doctor Strange getting reinforcements throughout all of space and time, including a dinosaur Doctor Strange from 66 billion years or million years ago. I didn't think it could get more stupid than that until you got to a giant bouncy ball with a Doom mask.
That was the big moment, Doc. They've been leading up to this for like 4 years now.
If this is their big moment of Doom living on Doom Planet with a bunch of other Dooms, this is going to be the most anticlimactic bullshit in the history of comic books. And the thing is, we saw all the destruction. We saw everybody dying and people getting the shit beat out of them and the world getting destroyed a couple of million years ago. We all know exactly how this whole thing ends. It just never happened by the time it's over. Erase the entire event, because that's how they'll end it.
Yeah, it's just, it feels like a lot of been there, done that. And I got to be honest, Doc, if Jason Aaron comes with a plan and wants to do an Avengers event, once you get out there to actually execute it, if the interest isn't there, the sales aren't there in the comic book, you just got to scrap the idea or make it a story within the comic book and cut your losses at that point. They've done this one. We also had the Dan Slott stupid event last year that nobody was looking forward to. He's like, I've been leading up to it for 10 years. Yeah, people stopped reading your comic books 8 years ago. No one gave a shit. And they keep devaluing events just by putting crap like this out where there's no anticipation. Nobody is going to the store being like, oh, I need to read Jason Aaron's Avengers Assemble. We got the Avengers Forever, Prehistoric Avengers. Like, nobody was looking forward to this. And at this point, it's just embarrassing. All these big moments that are supposed to be mind-blowing, they're just eye-rolling because he never really got that momentum to warrant anything like this even happening.
No, he didn't. And it's just going to stumble across the finish line because they're not going to tell him, look, nobody gives a shit about this event. Nobody cares that there was Avengers a million years ago. This whole idea was stupid. It was just we just let it happen because why the hell not? We didn't think we figured you'd get bored halfway through this because it was a dumb idea that had no reasonable logical conclusion that anyone would care to read. And that's where we're at now.
I mean, we're all dumber because of this stuff.
We are. And how many Avengers titles is Jason Aaron putting out right now? Like Avengers Prime, Avengers Assemble, Avengers. Is there still is there Avengers Forever? And they're all somehow connecting. And then we get the big reveal next week, I guess, of who the identity of Avenger Prime is that no one cares about.
It just so happens Doc and I reviewed a comic book featuring Avenger Prime, and we talked about the character and why no one's going to care about that character either. One of the worst designs in Marvel Comics history for something that was supposed to be important. This thing has been doomed from the beginning. I don't know why they even decided to do it. You can't see the video here. There's also a link in the video description.